I'm 74 years old, and I've kept 40 hours of video footage hidden for 36 years. Footage that would revolutionize our understanding of language, intelligence, and what it means to be deaf in a hearing world. My name is Marcus Stone. I was born deaf in 1950, before cochlear implants, before mainstreaming, when deaf people were still called deaf and dumb by doctors who should have known better. I learned American Sign Language from other deaf children at residential school, built a life in silence that hearing people called a disability. In 1988, my 7-year-old daughter Lily, also born deaf, taught me something that changed everything I believed about communication, about intelligence, about what our deafness meant. She taught American Sign Language to a creature that shouldn't exist, a juvenile Bigfoot, another deaf being, navigating a world not built for silent communication. For a year, I documented their conversations, watched as they created a hybrid language that bridged species, watched as my daughter became fluent in a gestural system more complex than any human language, watched as a creature proved that sophisticated intelligence doesn't require hearing, doesn't require speech, doesn't require anything the hearing world has always insisted was essential. And then educators found out. Researchers wanted to study my daughter, wanted access to the creature, wanted to turn something beautiful and private into a spectacle for hearing people to analyze and categorize and claim credit for understanding. I made a choice that day, a choice I've questioned every day since. This is the story of two deaf beings who found each other in the silence, and the father who had to decide whether to protect them or expose them to a world that has never fully accepted either of them. Before I told you this story, let me know in the comments where you're watching from today. And if you want to hear more true encounters from the edge of the wilderness, make sure to hit that subscribe button. I was 38 years old in the summer of 1988, a carpenter by trade, divorced for 2 years. My ex-wife Sarah was hearing. We'd met through an interpreter at a community college workshop. The marriage lasted 6 years before the communication gap became too wide to bridge. She left when Lily was 5, not because she didn't love our daughter, but because she couldn't accept Lily's deafness. Couldn't accept that Lily would grow up deaf in a deaf household, learning ASL as her first language instead of spoken English. "You're limiting her," Sarah would argue through our interpreter. "She needs to be in the hearing world. She needs speech therapy, hearing aids, a chance at normal life." "She is normal," I'd sign back. "Deaf is normal for us. ASL is our language. Why should she pretend to be something she's not?" Sarah couldn't understand. To her, deafness was a tragedy to overcome. To me, it was just how we existed. We divorced in 1986, and Sarah moved to Portland for a job. Lily stayed with me. We lived on 15 acres of rural Oregon property, 40 minutes from the nearest town. I built custom furniture in my workshop, sold pieces through a gallery in Eugene, made enough to support us. The isolation worked for me. Fewer situations requiring interpreters, fewer hearing people looking at us with pity or confusion. But for Lily, the isolation was harder. She was 7 years old in 1988, bright, curious, lonely. The nearest school for the deaf was an hour away. She had deaf classmates during the school year, but summers were just her and me on our property. No deaf friends nearby. No one to sign with except her father. No one who understood what it was like to be a deaf child in a hearing world that insisted you were broken. She'd spend hours in the forest behind our house, exploring. Sometimes I'd worry. What if she got hurt and couldn't call for help? What if something happened? But she always came back before dark, dirty and happy, signing about things she'd seen. Deer, birds, interesting rocks. I thought she was just playing alone, coping with the isolation through imagination. I had no idea she'd found someone who understood her better than any hearing person ever could. By summer 1988, I was watching my daughter disappear into loneliness. She was becoming withdrawn, quiet even in sign. Would sit at dinner moving food around her plate, lost in thought. "What's wrong?" I'd sign. "Nothing," she'd sign back. But her eyes said everything. She was isolated, needed connection with other deaf people her age, needed community I couldn't provide alone. I'd tried everything. Enrolled her in summer deaf youth programs, but they were all in Portland, too far for daily attendance. Reached out to other deaf families, but the nearest one was an hour away and their kids were teenagers. I was failing her, providing physical safety but not emotional connection. She needed more than just me. Needed friends. Needed to feel normal, accepted, understood. I started considering moving. Maybe Portland, closer to deaf community, deaf schools, more opportunities. But that meant leaving the property I'd built, the workshop where I made my living, the isolation that protected us from constant reminder that we were different. I was trapped between what was best for my daughter and what was sustainable for our life, and I had no idea that my daughter had already solved the problem on her own, had already found a friend who signed, who understood silence, who made her feel less alone. I just hadn't believed her when she tried to tell me. August 3rd, 1988, late afternoon. Lily had been in the forest since lunch. Usually she'd return by 3 p.m., but it was pushing 5 and she hadn't come back. I walked into the tree line, following the rough trail she usually took. Called her name, not vocally, obviously, but with our system, stamping the ground in rhythm, creating vibrations she could feel if she was close and paying attention. No response. I walked deeper, started to worry. The forest was dense here, easy to get disoriented. What if she was hurt? What if she couldn't find her way back? Then I heard something. Not heard, felt. Vibrations through the forest floor. Movement. Something large. I came around a massive Douglas fir and stopped dead. In a small clearing, Lily was sitting cross-legged on the ground, and across from her, maybe 8 feet away, was a creature I'd never seen before but somehow recognized immediately from descriptions I'd dismissed as folklore. A juvenile Bigfoot, maybe 8 or 9 years old in human equivalent, 4.5 feet tall, covered in reddish-brown hair, with a flat face and intelligent eyes. And it was signing. Not American Sign Language, not exactly, but clear, deliberate gestures with its hands. Lily was watching intently, then signing back in ASL. The creature watched her hands, absorbed her gestures, then responded with its own hand movements. They were conversing. I stood frozen, watching. The creature hadn't noticed me yet, too focused on Lily's hands. Its eyes tracked every movement she made with complete attention. There was no auditory component to their interaction. Just hands, just gesture, just the visual language of movement. The creature's hands were remarkable. Larger than Lily's, with longer fingers, but capable of incredible precision. It formed shapes and movements that were distinctly not ASL. Different grammar, different spatial relationships, but clearly intentional communication. Lily signed something, and the creature responded by making a complex gesture that involved both hands moving in counter-rotation while forming specific shapes. Lily watched carefully, then tried to mimic it. Got it wrong. The creature gently corrected her hand position, and she tried again. They were teaching each other. I must have made some movement, shifted my weight, disturbed the underbrush, because the creature's head snapped toward me. Its eyes locked on mine. Fear flooded its face. It started to stand, ready to bolt. Wait, I signed to Lily, even though I knew the creature couldn't understand me yet. Lily turned, saw me. Her face showed panic. Papa, don't scare him, please. Him? I signed. My friend? Lily signed rapidly. He's like us. He can't hear. He only talks with hands. Like us, Papa. Just like us. The creature was still poised to run, watching me warily. I had a choice. React with fear, send this creature fleeing, lose whatever connection Lily had built, or trust my daughter. Trust that she'd found something remarkable. I slowly raised my hands where the creature could see them. Signed clearly to Lily, knowing the creature would watch. I won't hurt your friend. Tell him I'm safe. Lily turned to the creature, made a series of gestures, not ASL, but something else. The creature's language. She'd learned it, was fluent enough to communicate reassurance. The creature watched her, then looked back at me, cautiously sat back down. I approached slowly, then sat on the ground, maybe 10 feet from them both. The creature tensed, but didn't run. I looked at Lily. How long has this been happening? All summer, she signed. Since June. I found him in the forest. He was alone like me. And Papa, he doesn't respond to sounds. At all. I clapped behind his head, dropped rocks. Nothing. He's deaf. Like us. My heart was pounding. A deaf Bigfoot. A creature that communicated through gesture because it had no other option. What's his name? I signed. Lily made a gesture toward the creature, a complex movement that wasn't ASL. That's his name sign, in his language. I can't translate it to English, but it means something like watcher of patterns, or one who sees connections. The creature watched our interaction with intense focus, then made a gesture toward me, questioning. He's asking what your name is. Lily signed. I fingerspelled my name, M-A-R-C-U-S. Then made my ASL name sign, a gesture combining the letter M with a movement that indicated builder. The creature watched carefully, then mimicked my name sign back to me, asking if it understood correctly. I nodded. The creature made a soft sound, a pleased grunt, and repeated the sign more confidently. He learns fast, Lily signed, beaming. Faster than anyone I've ever met. I've been teaching him ASL and he's been teaching me his language. Papa, his language is so complex. More complex than ASL in some ways. I sat in that clearing, watching my 7-year-old daughter communicate fluidly with a creature that shouldn't exist, and understood. Everything I thought I knew about language, about intelligence, about what deafness meant, all of it was about to change. That evening, after the creature left, melting back into the forest with a final gesture that clearly meant tomorrow, I sat Lily down in our living room. Tell me everything, I signed. She did. How she'd been exploring in June and saw the creature watching her from behind a fallen log. how they'd been startled by each other at first, how she'd noticed the creature didn't react to her vocal sounds. She'd been experimenting with making noises to scare it away, but it just watched her mouth with confusion. "Then I signed hello," Lily explained. "Just basic ASL." And Papa, his eyes lit up. He understood that hands meant communication. He came closer, started making his own gestures. "We've been meeting almost every day since. Why didn't you tell me?" Lily's face showed shame. "I was afraid you wouldn't believe me, or that you'd make me stop. He's my friend, Papa. My only friend who's like me." My chest tightened. "Like you how?" "Deaf," she signed emphatically. "He lives in silence like us. He talks with hands like us. He understands what it's like to not hear. All my hearing friends at school, they're nice, but they don't really understand. He does." The next day, I brought my new camcorder, a bulky JVC unit I'd bought to record Lily's childhood. If this was real, if this was happening, I needed documentation. Not for science, not for proof. For us. To understand what we were witnessing. We met the creature in the same clearing at 2 p.m. He was waiting for us, seated on the ground. When he saw the camera, he tensed. Lily quickly signed to him in his language, explaining, reassuring. The creature watched her, then made a questioning gesture toward the camera. "It records," I signed, then realized he didn't know ASL well enough yet. I pantomimed the camera recording, then playing back. Showed him the viewfinder screen. The creature approached cautiously, looked at the screen. I showed him his own image, his hand moving in the frame. He made an excited sound and his hands flew in rapid gestures. "He wants to know if it records his language," Lily translated. "He's excited because usually only his family can see what he says. The camera means others could see it too." I started recording. Over the next week, I documented 3 sessions. What I captured was extraordinary. The creature, Lily started calling him Watcher after his name sign, would arrive each afternoon. The 3 of us would sit in a triangle formation and communication would flow. Lily would teach Watcher new ASL signs. Watcher would teach us gestures from his language. I'd document everything, noting patterns, structures, the way grammar worked differently between the 2 systems. Watcher's language was remarkable. While ASL uses 3-dimensional space around the signer, Watcher's language used even more complex spatial relationships. Multiple layers of meaning could be conveyed simultaneously through hand position, orientation, movement speed, and facial expression. But more than that, Watcher's language had structural elements that ASL lacked. Ways to express abstract concepts about time, about relationship between ideas, about emotional nuance that we'd need entire sentences to convey in ASL. His people must have evolved this over thousands of years. I signed to Lily during a break while Watcher explored the clearing. "This isn't primitive communication. This is sophisticated language." "Better than hearing people's language?" Lily asked hopefully. "Different," I signed. "Not better or worse, just different. Proof that language doesn't need sound." 2 weeks in, something remarkable happened. We were all sitting together, and Lily was trying to explain the concept of yesterday to Watcher. ASL has clear signs for temporal concepts, but Watcher's language had a different system. Watcher watched Lily's attempts, then made a series of gestures that were clearly explanation. He was showing her how his language handled time, not as linear progression, but as spatial relationship. Past events closer to the body, future events further away, with gradations of distance indicating how far past or future. Lily watched, absorbed, then suddenly her face lit up. "Papa, his system is better for some things. Watch." She made a complex gesture combining ASL temporal markers with Watcher's spatial distance system. The result was a hybrid sign that communicated not just yesterday, but yesterday, close in emotional significance, affecting today. Watcher's eyes widened. He immediately understood. Made a gesture back using the same hybrid system, adding even more nuance. They'd created something new. A third language. One that drew from both ASL and Watcher's native language, combining the strengths of both systems. I recorded everything, my hands shaking. That night, I reviewed the footage, watched it 3 times, taking notes. What I was documenting wasn't just a deaf child and a deaf creature communicating. It was the birth of a new linguistic system, a bridge language that proved communication could evolve across species lines when both parties shared a primary sensory modality. Hearing linguists had always assumed spoken language was the foundation of all sophisticated communication. That signed languages were derivative, secondary, less complex. Watcher proved them wrong. His species had evolved complex, sophisticated gestural language without any spoken component. And in some structural ways, his language was more complex than human signed languages. My daughter was becoming trilingual, fluent in ASL, learning written English, and now fluent in an entirely non-human communication system. And she was happy. For the first time since the divorce, Lily was thriving. She had a friend who understood her, who shared her primary language, who didn't see her deafness as a deficit. This was going to change everything. For Lily, for me, for how we understood our place in the world. I just had to keep it secret until I understood what it all meant. By September, we were meeting Watcher almost daily. The sessions were longer now, sometimes 3 hours. I'd bring the camcorder, plus notebooks where I'd sketch gesture structures and try to map the grammar of Watcher's language. Lily was thriving. She'd wake up excited, practice new signs she wanted to teach Watcher, prepare questions she wanted to ask. For the first time in her life, she had a peer, someone her cognitive age who communicated the way she did. Watcher was growing too. Not physically, he stayed about the same size, but linguistically, his ASL comprehension expanded rapidly. Within a month, he could follow complex conversations, could ask sophisticated questions, could express abstract ideas. One afternoon in late September, Watcher did something unexpected. He gestured to Lily, then me, then made a clear invitation gesture, one we'd learned meant, "Come with me." "He wants us to follow him," Lily signed, excited. "Into the deeper forest." I hesitated. We'd always met in the same clearing, neutral territory. But venturing deeper meant trusting Watcher completely, meant being vulnerable in his territory. Lily looked at me pleadingly. "Papa, please. He wants to show us something important." I nodded. We followed Watcher into the forest, deeper than I'd ever gone. After 20 minutes, we reached a small cave entrance concealed by fallen logs and thick brush. Watcher gestured for us to wait, disappeared inside, emerged a minute later carrying something, a large piece of bark with markings on it. Not random scratches, deliberate symbols, a writing system. He laid it on the ground and began explaining in his language, Lily translating. His family uses these symbols to mark territory, to leave messages. Each symbol is like a word sign, but permanent. He wants to teach us to read it. I stared at the bark, a non-human writing system. Proof that Watcher's people had developed illiteracy independent of human influence. "Can you teach me?" I signed directly to Watcher. He nodded eagerly. Spent the next hour showing us the symbol system, how combinations created complex meanings, how placement and orientation affected interpretation. My daughter and I were learning to read Bigfoot. After that day, gift-giving became part of our routine. Lily would bring drawings she'd made, pictures of the three of us, of the forest, of abstract patterns. Watcher would study them carefully, then keep them, carrying them back to his cave. Watcher brought us gifts too. Intricately woven grass patterns, smooth stones arranged in meaningful configurations. Once, a perfectly preserved bird skeleton arranged in anatomically correct position, a teaching tool we realized for understanding structure. But the most meaningful gift came in October. Watcher arrived carrying a small piece of bark with a symbol carved into it. He presented it to Lily with ceremony. "What does it mean?" I signed to him. Watcher made a complex gesture, which Lily translated. "It's my name for her, in writing, so she can keep it forever even when we're not together." Lily's eyes filled with tears. She clutched the bark to her chest, then signed thank you in both ASL and Watcher's language. That night, she placed it on her bedside table. It's still there, 36 years later, the most precious thing she owns. By November, our three-way communication was seamless. We'd switch between ASL, Watcher's language, and our hybrid system, depending on what we were discussing. Each language had strengths for different concepts. ASL was better for human-specific ideas, culture, technology, social structures. Watcher's language excelled at describing natural phenomena, spatial relationships, and emotional nuance. The hybrid system was best for abstract philosophy and theoretical discussions. One afternoon, Watcher asked a question that floored me. Why do hearing humans think deaf humans are broken? Lily had explained to him about the hearing world, about how people pitied us, about speech therapy and cochlear implants and the constant pressure to be normal. They think communication requires sound, I signed. They can't imagine sophisticated language without it. Watcher made a gesture that translated roughly to, "They're wrong. Sound is just one sense. Any sense can carry language. We prove that. You prove that. Hearing people don't know you exist," Lily signed. "If they knew," Watcher signed, "would they understand? Would they stop thinking deaf humans are broken?" I didn't know how to answer. Would they? Or would they see Watcher as a curiosity to study, another being to fix or normalize? The moment I knew this relationship transcended simple friendship came in early December. I'd received a letter from Sarah's lawyer. She was petitioning for custody, arguing that Lily needed to be in a more integrated environment with proper therapeutic support. Code for, away from deaf father, forced into hearing world. I was devastated, trying not to show it to Lily but failing. She could read my emotional state in my posture, my signing, the tension in my face. That afternoon, Watcher noticed immediately. He approached me, gently touched my shoulder. A gesture we'd learned meant, "I see your pain," and made a questioning sign. I explained the situation, that Lily might be taken away, that the hearing world thought I was limiting her by raising her deaf. Watcher listened intently. then made a long, complex series of gestures that Lily translated. In my family, there are hearing members and deaf members. The hearing ones don't communicate better. They don't understand the world better. They just experience it differently. The deaf ones, like me, we see things the hearing ones miss. We notice patterns in movement, in facial expression, in the way wind affects trees. Our deafness isn't broken hearing. It's enhanced seeing, enhanced connection to visual world. Your daughter isn't limited. She's specialized, adapted, perfect for her way of experiencing life. I broke down, put my head in my hands and cried. Not because of the custody battle, but because for the first time in my life, someone had articulated what I'd always felt but couldn't express. Deaf isn't broken. It's different. It's valuable. It's complete. Lily and Watcher both put their hands on my shoulders, sat with me while I cried. Two deaf beings offering comfort to a third, all of us understanding what the hearing world never would. We weren't lacking anything. We were whole. In January 1989, disaster struck from an unexpected direction. Lily's teacher at the deaf school, a hearing woman named Ms. Peterson, who'd learned ASL to work with deaf children, pulled me aside during pickup one Friday. Lily's communication skills have improved remarkably this year, she signed. Her ASL grammatically correct but lacking the fluency of a native signer. Her spatial reasoning, her ability to express abstract concepts, she's years ahead of her peers. What have you been doing with her? My stomach dropped. Just normal practice at home. It's more than that. She's using gesture combinations I've never seen before, almost like she's invented her own linguistic system. I'd like to refer her for a special study at the university. They have linguists who would be fascinated by her development. No, I signed immediately. She's fine. Just a bright kid. Ms. Peterson looked concerned. Marcus, this could be important research. It could help other deaf children. If Lily has developed some kind of enhanced communication system, we should understand it, share it. You can't keep her isolated just because you're resistant to the hearing world. The judgment in her expression was clear. Overprotective deaf father, limiting his daughter out of bitterness. We're fine, I signed firmly. No study, no university. Lily is a child, not research subject, but I knew this was just the beginning. If Lily's teachers were noticing, others would too. That night, I sat Lily down. Your teacher noticed you're signing differently. Better, using new gestures. Lily's face showed fear. From Watcher? Yes. You have to be careful at school. Only use standard ASL. Don't use Watcher's language or the hybrid system. Can you do that? But Papa, Watcher's language is better for some things. Why can't I use it? Because if hearing people find out about Watcher, they'll come looking for him. They'll want to study him. Maybe hurt him. We have to protect him. Lily nodded slowly. Like they want to study me. Like I'm broken and interesting. Exactly like that. For 2 weeks I kept Lily away from the forest. Told her it was too dangerous right now. That we needed to be careful. She was miserable. Would stand at the window looking toward the tree line. Hands moving in unconscious signing. I reviewed the 30+ hours of footage I'd recorded. Wondered if I should destroy it. Erase the evidence. Protect Watcher and Lily from exposure. But I couldn't. The footage was proof. Proof that deaf communication wasn't lesser. Proof that sophisticated language could evolve without sound. Proof that my daughter's deafness was a different way of being, not a deficiency. Still, without Watcher, Lily was fading. Became withdrawn, even at home. Would sign to me in short, simple sentences, saving her complex thoughts for no one. I was destroying her to protect her. The bitter irony wasn't lost on me. On the 15th day, I woke at dawn to find Lily's bed empty. Panic flooded through me. I ran outside and saw her at the edge of the tree line, signing animatedly to someone in the shadows. Watcher emerged. He looked thinner, worried. He signed to me. Where was Lily? Why did she stop coming? Did I do something wrong? My heart broke. No, you did nothing wrong. I was trying to protect you, but I was wrong. Come on. I brought them both inside. First time Watcher had ever been in our house. Sat them at the kitchen table. Made hot chocolate for Lily. Set out fruit for Watcher. Then I explained everything. The teacher's concerns. The threat of exposure. My fear that the hearing world would take them both away. Lily to be studied and fixed. Watcher to be captured and displayed. Watcher listened carefully, then signed. So we have to choose. Keep meeting and risk everything. Or stop meeting and be safe but alone. There's a third option. I signed slowly. We keep meeting but we're more careful. No signing at school, Lily. No using Watcher's language where anyone can see. We hide what you've become. I don't want to hide. Lily signed. I'm not ashamed. I know. I signed. Neither am I. But the world isn't ready for you two yet. Maybe someday. But not now. Watcher made a long series of gestures that Lily translated. My family hides from humans. Always has. We stay silent and unseen because humans are dangerous when they're afraid. But hiding is lonely. Hiding means never being fully known. I don't want Lily to live like that, always hiding the best parts of herself to stay safe. What else can we do? I signed. Be careful. Watcher signed. But not afraid. Let people see that Lily is extraordinary. Let them wonder how. They might guess. They might come looking. But Lily shouldn't have to hide her brilliance to protect me. I can protect myself. I've been doing it my whole life. I looked at my daughter. He's right. I've been so afraid of you being hurt that I forgot you need to be seen. Need to be yourself. I don't want Watcher to get hurt either. Lily signed. Watcher touched her hand gently. Your friendship gave me something I never had before. Someone who understands. Someone who sees me. Even if humans come looking someday, even if I have to hide again, you gave me proof that I'm not alone. That there are other deaf beings who think and communicate like me. That's worth any risk. I understood then. Safety isn't the same as living. I'd been so focused on protecting them that I'd forgotten they needed to exist fully, even if that meant risk. Okay, I signed. We meet again. We're careful. But we don't hide who you are, Lily. And we document everything, Watcher. Because what you two have created together, this matters. This changes everything we thought we knew about language and intelligence and deafness. Watcher nodded. Lily smiled for the first time in weeks. That afternoon we returned to the forest. I brought the camcorder, and we continued building something extraordinary, even knowing it might not last. From February through June 1989, our sessions intensified. I documented everything, not just the language exchange, but the philosophy emerging from it. Watcher wasn't just teaching us his language. He was teaching us how to see the world as a deaf being, evolved without any reliance on sound. Late February, we were in the forest, and I was trying to teach Watcher about written English, showing him how letters formed words, words formed sentences. He was struggling, not because he wasn't intelligent, but because the system didn't match his cognition. Finally, he made a frustrated gesture and signed. This is hearing people language, made for sounds turned into marks. My language is different foundation. He took me to a tree covered in moss patterns, pointed to specific formations. My people read this, he signed. See patterns in moss growth. Tells us moisture, wind direction, age of tree, health of forest. This is our writing, not symbols we make. Symbols nature makes that we learn to read. He moved to animal tracks in mud. This tells stories. Which animal, how fast moving, how long ago, what mood. Entire narrative in marks on ground. Then he gestured to the way light filtered through trees, creating patterns on the forest floor. This changes every day, every hour. We read this like hearing humans read clock. Tells us time, weather, season. You're reading the world itself. I signed, amazed. Not translating it into symbols, just reading it directly. Yes, Watcher confirmed. Hearing humans translate everything into sounds, then into symbols. We stay visual, direct reading, faster for some things, more accurate for spatial information. I understood. Written language wasn't the pinnacle of intelligence. It was one adaptation. Watcher's people had developed different forms of literacy, environmental reading, pattern recognition, direct visual processing, that were equally sophisticated, just based on different sensory foundations. Lily absorbed this immediately, started noticing patterns everywhere, reading the environment the way Watcher did. March. Lily came home from school upset. Another kid said I'm disabled, she signed. Said I can't hear so I'm broken. Said I'll never be as smart as hearing kids. Watcher was with us that afternoon. He watched Lily cry, then made a decisive gesture. Come with me. He led us deep into the forest, to a ridge overlooking a valley. We sat quietly. After 10 minutes, Watcher began pointing. Deer in the valley below. We could see them clearly. Watcher signed. They can't see us. We're silent. They hear everything, but they can't hear us. Silence makes us invisible to hearing creatures. He pointed to a hawk circling overhead. Hearing humans think birds are silent hunters, but birds make sounds, wing beats, calls. Prey hear them coming, but watch. A red-tailed hawk dove, struck a rabbit so fast it never had a chance to react. The rabbit heard nothing useful. Watcher signed. All its hearing couldn't save it. Vision is what matters for survival in moments that count. Speed of visual processing. We have that. Hearing humans spend time interpreting sounds. That delay can mean death in forest. We skip that step. See, react, survive. He looked at Lily seriously. You're not disabled, you're specialized, evolved for visual world. In forest, in moments of danger, in situations requiring instant visual processing. You're superior. Hearing is one adaptation, seeing is another. Neither is better, just different. Lily's face transformed. For the first time, someone had reframed her deafness not as lack but as specialization, as evolutionary adaptation with distinct advantages. April. I was reviewing footage when I noticed something remarkable. Watcher's grammar structures suggested his species thought about time, causality, and relationships fundamentally differently than humans did. I brought this up in our next session. Your language suggests you think about time spatially rather than linearly. Is that true? Watcher confirmed. Made a complex explanation that Lily translated. Human languages treat time as line, past to future, one direction. My language treats time as space. All moments exist simultaneously in different locations. When I remember, I'm not going backward. I'm looking to a different spatial location where that moment still exists. Like time is a landscape you can see all at once, I signed. Exactly. Your language shapes your thinking. You think time flows. We think time spreads. Both are valid ways of understanding. Neither is more correct. This was profound. Watcher's people had developed not just a different language, but a different cognitive framework. Language didn't just describe reality. It shaped how you perceived and organized reality. Does this mean there's no one correct way to understand the world? Lily signed. Correct. Watcher signed. Many ways to be intelligent. Many ways to understand. Hearing humans think their way is only way. But my people understand differently. Deaf humans understand differently. All valid, all complete. I realized intelligence isn't universal. It's diverse, species-specific, sense-specific. The hearing world's insistence that deaf people learn to speak wasn't about helping us. It was about forcing us into their cognitive framework, their way of organizing reality. Watcher proved we didn't need their framework. We had our own, equally valid, equally sophisticated. Mayor, I was discussing with Watcher how hearing linguists dismissed signed languages as primitive or incomplete compared to spoken languages. Watcher's response was immediate and passionate. That's like saying trees are primitive because they don't have eyes. Different organisms evolve different communication systems. My people's language has structures your ASL doesn't have. ASL has structures my language doesn't have. Spoken languages have structures both of ours lack. No language is complete. All languages are complete for the beings who use them. He demonstrated by expressing a complex emotional concept in his language, one that took him 3 gestures, and asked me to translate it to ASL. It took me 12 signs. The concept involved simultaneous fear and hope, directed at a future event while remembering a past event with contradictory emotional content. His language could bundle all of that into a single 3-gesture phrase because of how it used spatial layering and temporal positioning. Your language can't do what mine does. Watcher signed. But mine can't do what yours does. When Lily taught me ASL signs for human cultural concepts, family roles, property ownership, abstract justice, my language had no equivalent. We had to create new signs. Languages are tools shaped by the beings who use them. Hearing people created tools for sound-based communication. We created tools for vision-based communication. Neither is superior. But hearing people control the world, I signed. They decide what counts as language, what counts as intelligence, what counts as normal. They control human world. Watcher corrected. Not the world. My people lived here thousands of years before humans. We had complete language, complete society, complete understanding of our world. Humans don't get to decide we don't exist or aren't sophisticated just because we don't communicate their way. I understood. The hearing world's dominance was circumstantial, not inherent. They had numbers, technology, institutions, but that didn't make their communication methods objectively superior, just dominant. And dominance isn't the same as correctness. Early June. Lily was struggling with an identity crisis. She was 8 years old, becoming more aware of how the world saw her. At school, hearing teachers see me as deaf child who needs help, she signed. Deaf teachers see me as deaf child who's normal, but Watcher sees me as just me, not deaf or hearing, just Lily. Watcher responded, that's because I don't have category of normal hearing. For my people, some hear, some don't. Doesn't matter. What matters is, can you communicate? Can you understand? Can you connect? You can do all those things, so you're complete. But humans make big deal about hearing, Lily signed. Because most humans hear, Watcher explained. So they think hearing is normal and not hearing is broken. But if most humans were deaf, they'd think deaf was normal and hearing was unusual. Normal isn't real, it's just what most people are. Doesn't mean it's better. I watched my daughter absorb this. The revolutionary idea that normal was arbitrary, that her deafness wasn't a deviation from a natural standard. It was just one way of being among many equally valid ways. I spent my whole life being seen as deaf first. I signed to both of them. Deaf Marcus. Marcus who can't hear. Marcus who needs accommodation. But you, Watcher, you see me as Marcus who communicates visually. That's not the same thing. No, Watcher agreed. You're not defined by what you can't do. You're defined by how you do things. Visual communication isn't failed auditory communication. It's its own complete system. Lily looked at both of us. So, we're not disabled deaf people. We're visual communication people. Yes, Watcher and I signed simultaneously. She smiled. I like that better. Late June. Our last full session before everything changed. The three of us were sitting in our usual clearing, the late afternoon sun filtering through the trees. Lily asked a question that had been building for months. Watcher, are there other deaf Bigfoots in your family? Yes, 3 out of 12 total family members. Do the hearing ones treat the deaf ones differently? Watcher paused, thinking carefully about his response. When I was young, yes. The hearing ones would exclude the deaf ones from certain activities. Didn't think we could participate because we couldn't hear warnings, couldn't hear approaching danger. Made us feel less capable. What changed? I signed. One day, hearing member of family was caught in rock slide, was injured, couldn't move, couldn't call for help with sounds. We deaf ones found him using visual tracking, reading disturbed ground, broken vegetation, patterns in rock displacement. Hearing ones had been calling for him, listening for response, but he couldn't respond. We found him in 2 hours. Hearing ones had been searching wrong way for half a day. Watcher's expression was serious. After that, hearing ones understood. We don't just compensate for not hearing. We're better at some things because we don't hear. We're not disabled. We're differently abled. Family stopped separating us, started valuing what we bring. That's what I want. Lily signed. A community that values me for what I can do, not judges me for what I can't do. You'll find it. Watcher signed. Maybe not in hearing world, maybe in deaf community, maybe in your own family you create. But you'll find people who see you completely, who understand that you're not broken, just different, just valuable in different ways. I put my arm around Lily. You already have that community. Me, Watcher, other deaf kids and adults who get it. You're not alone. Will I ever find another human like Watcher? She signed. Someone deaf from birth, completely comfortable with silence, who thinks I'm complete. Yes, I signed, hoping I was right. There are deaf people who've never heard, never wanted to hear, who are completely whole in their deafness. You'll find them. You'll find your people. Watcher added. And even if humans don't understand, I'm proof that you're not alone in universe, that there are other deaf beings, other intelligent species that communicate visually. You're not a broken human. You're part of a bigger category, visual communicators. That includes deaf humans, my people, probably other species we don't know about. You're not isolated. You're part of something vast. Lily cried. Happy tears. Relief tears. For the first time in her life, she understood she wasn't broken, wasn't deficient, was part of a diverse universe where her way of being was natural and valuable and complete. That understanding was worth everything, worth the risk, worth whatever came next. By late June 1989, our time was running out. Not because anyone was aging. Lily was still only 8. Watcher appeared to be about 10 in equivalent development, but because circumstances were closing in. Ms. Peterson at school had contacted university linguists. They wanted to observe Lily. Sarah's lawyer was using Lily's advanced but unusual communication as evidence that I was raising her in isolation, creating aberrant developmental patterns, and Watcher's family was preparing to migrate. He explained to us in late June, my family moves to different territory every few years. Avoid humans, avoid detection. Next move is coming, soon. We all knew what this meant. Watcher would have to leave. Our sessions would end. The extraordinary thing we'd built together, this three-way communication, this bridge between species, this proof that deaf communication was complete, would be over. How long do we have? I signed to Watcher. Maybe 2 weeks, maybe less. When family decides to move, we move fast. I might not have time to say goodbye. Lily was devastated. Can't you stay? Can't we come with you? No. Watcher signed gently. You belong in human world. I belong with my family. This was always temporary, but it was still real, still important. In those final days, our sessions became more intimate. Less teaching, more just being together. Sitting close, hands touching, communicating in the hybrid language we'd created, a language only the three of us understood. Watcher would groom Lily's hair the way his family groomed each other. Lily would teach him human games, tic-tac-toe using symbols from his writing system, patterned arrangements of stones. I would record everything, knowing these might be our last memories. One afternoon, Lily fell asleep leaning against Watcher. He sat completely still for an hour, letting her rest, one massive hand resting protectively on her shoulder. When she woke, she signed sleepily. I wish you were my brother. I am your brother. Watcher signed back. Not by blood, by choice, by understanding. Forever brothers, even when not together. June 28, 1989. 2 days before everything exploded, Watcher brought us to his family's territory, the first and only time. It was risky, dangerous, but he wanted us to meet them. Wanted them to see the humans he'd been learning from. His family was wary. 3 adult Bigfoots, 2 adolescents, and the 3 deaf members Watcher had mentioned. They watched us from a distance, communicating with each other in rapid gestures we couldn't fully follow. Then one of the deaf Bigfoots, An elderly female approached. She studied Lily intently, then began signing. Not ASL. Not quite Watcher's language either. Something older, perhaps ancestral. Watcher translated. She says Lily has true sight, sees the world the way the old ones saw it. Says deafness isn't new to Bigfoots, has always existed in our species. The deaf ones were always the shamans, the teachers, the ones who understood things hearing ones missed. She says Lily will be same for humans. Will teach hearing humans what they're missing. The elderly female touched Lily's forehead gently, made a blessing gesture, then handed her something. A small carved stone with symbols on it. Family history, Watcher explained. Proof that Lily was accepted by them. Honorary Bigfoot. Lily clutched the stone, tears streaming down her face. As we left, I looked back at Watcher's family. The deaf ones were standing together, watching us. They raised their hands in unison, a gesture of farewell and recognition, from one deaf community to another, acknowledging each other across species lines. June 30th, 1989. Morning. I woke to pounding on my door. Not knocking, pounding. I opened it to find Ms. Peterson, 2 university linguists, and a Child Protective Services investigator. Mr. Stone, the CPS investigator said, through a hastily called interpreter, we have concerns about Lily's welfare and development. We need to observe your home environment and assess her communication patterns. My blood ran cold. You can't just show up. We have a court order, she said, holding up papers. Sarah Stone has petitioned for emergency custody evaluation. We're authorized to observe Lily's daily activities. They pushed past me into the house. The linguists immediately noticed my notebooks, pages of gesture analysis, sketches of hand positions, notes on grammatical structures that weren't ASL. What is this? One linguist asked. What communication system is this? Personal notes, I signed through the interpreter. These aren't standard ASL structures, the other linguist said, flipping through pages. Where did you learn this? Where did Lily learn this? Lily appeared at the top of the stairs, awakened by the commotion. She saw the strangers, saw me tense and frightened, and immediately understood. Danger. She signed to me. Watcher. I shook my head minutely. Don't mention Watcher. Protect him. But Ms. Peterson had been watching. Who's Watcher? Lily, who are you talking about? The CPS investigator insisted on interviewing Lily. I sat beside her, interpreter present, while they asked questions. Lily, your teacher says you've been using unusual signs. Signs that aren't in American Sign Language. Where did you learn them? Lily looked at me. I could see her struggling. Tell the truth and expose Watcher, or lie and protect him, but seemed like she was being coached. She made a decision. I created them, she signed. I made up my own signs for things, that's all. You created an entirely new grammatical system? The linguist asked skeptically. At age 8. That's highly unusual. There must be a source. She's a bright kid. I interrupted through the interpreter. Deaf kids often create home signs, private languages with their families. It's well documented. Not at this level of complexity, the linguist insisted. She pulled out some of my notebooks. These structures suggest influence from a non-human communication system, almost like animal gesture language, but far more sophisticated. Where would she have encountered? Lily made a sudden, desperate gesture. One of Watcher's signs, one that meant silence for protection. The linguists saw it, recognized it as non-human. Their eyes lit up with scientific curiosity that made me sick. What was that sign? One demanded. That's not human gesture. What has she been communicating with? I made a split-second decision. Everyone out. Now. This interview is over. You're upsetting my daughter. Mr. Stone, we have authorization. I don't care. You're leaving. Interview Lily at school with proper notice. But right now, you're scaring her, and you're leaving my property. The CPS investigator looked ready to argue, but the interpreter, a deaf woman I recognized from community events, signed to me privately. I'll support you. Say she's too distressed to continue. They'll have to reschedule. She spoke up. The child is clearly traumatized by this ambush. Interview should be rescheduled in appropriate setting. I'm noting this was inappropriate conduct. Reluctantly, they left. But as they walked to their cars, I heard the linguists talking excitedly. There's something out there. Something she's been communicating with. We need to search the property. As soon as they drove away, I grabbed Lily. Get your shoes. Run to the clearing. Warn Watcher. Tell him his family needs to leave immediately. Today. Now. Lily ran. I grabbed the camcorder tapes, all 40 hours of footage. Had minutes to decide, hide them or destroy them. Lily returned an hour later, sobbing. He's gone. His whole family is gone. I went to the cave and everything was cleared out. They left. Did you see him? Did you say goodbye? No, she wept. He was already gone. Papa, I didn't get to say goodbye. She collapsed against me and I held her while she cried. The most important friendship of her life ended without closure, without farewell, without the chance to say what needed to be said. That evening I found something on our porch, a piece of bark with a symbol carved into it. Watcher's message. The symbol meant, journey continuing in parallel, not together but not separate, forever recognition. Lily translated through tears. He's saying we're still connected even though we're not together, that he'll remember us forever, that we're part of his family now, always. She took the bark to her room, added it to the other gifts Watcher had given her, physical proof that it had been real. I never saw Watcher again, neither did Lily, but his language, his proof that deaf communication was complete and sophisticated, lived on in the 40 hours of video I'd recorded. Video I had to decide what to do with. I'm 74 years old now. Lily is 43. She's a linguist, professor at Gallaudet University, the world's only university designed for deaf students. She has a wife, 2 children, 1 deaf, 1 hearing, and a life built entirely in deaf community. She never needed the hearing world to accept her. She built her own world instead. The 40 hours of video have been hidden for 36 years, in a safe deposit box in 3 different banks, copies hidden in different states. I've never shown them to anyone except a handful of trusted deaf scholars who I swore to secrecy, because showing them, really showing them to the world, would mean exposing Watcher, exposing his family, putting them at risk. But I'm dying now. Heart disease, maybe a year left, and I need to decide, do these tapes die with me, or do they serve the purpose they were always meant to serve? Proof that deaf communication is complete. Proof that deafness isn't disability. Proof that sophisticated intelligence and language can evolve without any sound component whatsoever. Here's what Watcher taught us about being deaf. What he showed us about language and intelligence and what it means to be complete. Deafness isn't broken hearing. It's a different sensory foundation for experiencing and understanding the world. Watcher's people evolved complex language, sophisticated culture, and advanced intelligence without ever hearing a sound. They prove that auditory processing isn't essential for any of the things hearing people claim require it. Visual communication isn't inferior to auditory communication. It's different. Watcher's language had structures ASL lacks. ASL has structures his language lacks. Both are complete. Both are sophisticated. Both work perfectly for the beings who use them. Language shapes thought. Watcher's people conceptualize time spatially because their language is spatial. Hearing people conceptualize time linearly because their language flows linearly. Neither is more correct. They're just different cognitive frameworks, equally valid. Intelligence is diverse, not universal. There's no single way to be intelligent. Hearing people aren't more intelligent than deaf people. Humans aren't more intelligent than Bigfoots. We're all intelligent in species-specific, sense-specific ways. Comparison is meaningless. Community matters more than normalcy. Lily didn't need the hearing world to accept her. She needed a community that valued her as she was. Watcher provided that. Later, deaf community provided that. You don't fix yourself to fit the world. You find the world where you already fit. And finally, being seen completely is the greatest gift. Watcher saw Lily as complete, not as deaf child who needed help, but as visual communicator with unique capabilities. That recognition transformed her, gave her confidence to build a life where her deafness was strength, not weakness. Watcher wasn't a curiosity, wasn't a miracle, wasn't a magical being. He was a deaf kid who found another deaf kid and they became friends. That's all. That's everything. His species had evolved sophisticated language without sound, had developed culture, family structures, communication systems that worked perfectly for them. They didn't need hearing, never missed it. We're complete without it. Just like we were complete without it. The hearing world wants to believe that deaf beings are tragic, that we're missing something essential, that our lives are lesser. Watcher proved them wrong. His existence proved that deafness is a complete way of being, that visual communication can be the foundation of sophisticated intelligence, that language doesn't require sound any more than thought requires light. I still have every tape, every notebook, every symbol Watcher taught us. Lily has the carved stone from Watcher's grandmother, the blessing, the recognition, and we both have the language, the hybrid system we created together. Lily uses it sometimes when she's thinking through complex linguistic concepts. She's never taught it to anyone else. It's private, sacred, just ours. But its existence changed how she understands language, how she teaches, how she fights for deaf students who are told they're broken. You're not broken, she tells them. You're visual communicators, just like me. Just like another species I met once that proved deaf communication is complete. She never tells them about Watcher, but she carries his lesson forward. Deaf isn't lesser, it's different, and different is valuable. If you take anything from this story, take this. Deaf people aren't broken hearing people. We're visual communicators, complete beings with our own language, our own culture, our own valid way of experiencing the world. Watcher proved this. His species evolved sophisticated intelligence without hearing. If they can do it, so can we. So can deaf humans who have been told their whole lives they're deficient. Here's what you need to do with this knowledge. First, if you're hearing, stop treating deafness as something to fix. Stop pushing deaf children toward speech and hearing aids and cochlear implants as if those are the only path to completeness. Some deaf people want those tools, some don't. Both choices are valid. Let deaf people decide for themselves what completeness means for them. Second, learn sign language, not to help deaf people, not to accommodate us, but because it's a beautiful, sophisticated language in its own right. Because visual communication opens ways of thinking that auditory communication doesn't. Because it will change how you understand language and thought. Third, support deaf-led institutions, deaf schools, deaf organizations, deaf spaces where ASL is the primary language and hearing isn't required. These aren't segregation, they're community. Places where deaf people are the norm, not the exception, where we don't have to constantly explain ourselves or justify our existence. I'm releasing these tapes now. After 36 years of hiding them, I'm giving them to Gallaudet University. They'll be studied by deaf scholars, analyzed by linguists who understand that deafness isn't disability, but they'll never be made fully public, never released in a way that could help people find Watcher's family. The location data is removed. Identifying features are obscured. Watcher's family is protected, because the point isn't to prove Bigfoots exist. The point is to prove that deaf communication is complete. Researchers studying these tapes have already confirmed Watcher's language is more structurally complex than American Sign Language in several ways. His spatial grammar allows for expression of concepts that ASL requires multiple sentences to convey. This isn't primitive communication. This is sophisticated language that evolved independently of sound, which means deaf humans, who communicate the same way, aren't primitive either, aren't lesser, aren't broken. We're different, and different is valid. Share this if you're deaf and someone has ever told you that you're broken, that you need to be fixed, that you'll never be complete without hearing. You're complete now, just like Watcher, just like me, just like Lily. Comment if you've ever been forced to communicate in a way that isn't natural for you, forced to speak when signing felt right, forced to hear when seeing was enough. Subscribe if you believe that there are different ways to be intelligent, different ways to communicate, different ways to experience the world, all equally valid. And if you're out there, Watcher, wherever you are, thank you. Thank you for seeing my daughter as complete. Thank you for proving that deafness is strength, not weakness. Thank you for showing us that we were never broken. Lily still looks for you sometimes, still signs to the trees in the hybrid language you created together, still carries the stone your grandmother gave her. She knows you're out there, living your life in silence, communicating in gestures, being complete without sound. Just like we're complete without sound, we see you, we remember you, we honor what you taught us, and we're passing it forward to every deaf child who's ever been told they're not enough. You are enough. You're complete. You're visual communicators, just like another species that proved deaf communication is sophisticated and beautiful and whole. Never let them tell you different.